I think I need to give my marketing team a raise. Let me tell you why. This is going to be one of those marketing rants. I haven't done one of these for a few months. It's Cinco de Mayo, which is the U.S. holiday to go celebrate and drink some Mexican Coke, and I like Mexican Coke. So the reason I need to give my marketing team a raise is they've been photoshopping terrible shots in a way that has got people to talk about my products that I just launched. I just launched this new brand called HOLSTIT. It's a holster brand, and it's American made, right? So we're making holsters in the United States, which is pretty much unheard of. Nobody's doing that. It's really hard to manufacture in the States, first of all. And so on our social media today for Cinco de Mayo, we posted a picture of a Mexican cowboy with the most awful looking Photoshop job I've ever seen. And guess what? my business partner, who is the biggest gun fanatic, he probably owns more guns than my actual net worth, like true gun fanatic. He's embarrassed. He's getting text messages, he's getting emails about how ridiculous looking our marketing is. And it wasn't just like one message, right? Like these are his best buddies in the gun community, just totally rolling over with laughter because we have a Mexican cowboy representing our Made in America product, and it's Cinco de Mayo, right? And I looked my partner in the face and I said, we don't have a problem. We have an opportunity. This is amazing. People are talking about our brand. And he's like, oh, I'm so embarrassed. This is awful. We can't rush this. And I'm like, dude, it's just a stupid Photoshop job. And you should own it, right? Like you should go back and say, I should give my marketing team a raise because that's great. That's fantastic. We have people memeing our product and it's barely a month old. We become the laughing stock of the gun selling community. Well, guess what? I would rather be the laughing stock of the gun holster community than for none of them to know who I was, first of all. And second of all, instead of deleting the post or getting embarrassed, because yes, that Photoshop job was terrible, right? We should just own it, right? Like if you just own the marketing with the authenticity and literally just go back and say, what do you mean? What seems to be the problem with our marketing? Well, there's nothing wrong here. In fact, I think I should give my marketing team a raise. It flips the script, completely flips the script. People think about marketing so incorrectly. I'll give you another example. So on LinkedIn 7 days ago, I made a post about how you should be getting the same amount of sales and as frequently as you have to urinate. Now, clearly, it's a pretty ridiculous statement, but that's how down to earth our agency is at My Amazon Guy and how I literally think. It was a direct quote with me arguing with my partner. We had launched this new brand and we had no sales and I was getting frustrated, right? Like I'm literally spending hundreds of thousands of dollars to develop this new brand, HOLSTIT. And I have in my pocket less than a couple $100 in sales. By some accounts, that would be a disaster. Now, it's not a disaster because it's a freaking work in progress. But I was arguing that we needed to start piecemealing some sales. We needed to get them going. Now, we were working on several $250,000 to $1 million wholesale sales, and I believe we're going to have one of those go through, right? We just had one fall through. I believe we're going to have the next one lined up and we're going to be fine. But the point I was making at the time was, why can't we just call up a few pawn shops? Why can't we just get some sales on the table? Let's get some customer feedback. Let's go. And my business partner is a perfectionist. And if you rush somebody who's detail oriented, they will tell you, if you say done is perfect, they blow their minds, right? Just blows their minds. You can't do that to a perfectionist. But I want to set some deadlines. I want to get some things going. I don't want to wait around for the next latest and greatest. I want things to produce. I want them to move. I'm a driver. I'm a marketer. I'm a really freaking good marketer. And so back to that LinkedIn post. So I made this post about how you have to frequently get sales. You should get as many sales as frequently as you urinate, right? Because if you hold your pee, that's procrastination of the inevitable, that you have to do these things. It is part of your brand. That is the urgency behind what you do. It only got 20 likes on LinkedIn, which is a pretty low like ratio for my posts these days. I'm probably averaging about 150. I had a 650 like post about 2 weeks ago, which made me feel pretty good. But only 20 likes on this post about peeing on LinkedIn. Well, guess what? It led to a contract. That one post with 20 likes made an Amazon brand reach out and talk to my sales team at my Amazon guy. And they literally started the phone call with, the reason we were on the phone today is because Stephen Pope doesn't have a facade, I don't know. I can't speak. And he just speaks real, right? I don't even use big words. That's how real I am. And that led to them getting on the phone call and saying, we want to work with you because clearly the way you communicate is how you represent your agency and how you actually operate your marketing strategies. And that is completely correct. And I'm living it myself when I have a Mexican cowboy representing my US made product with a Photoshop job that my 5-year-old could probably pull off, right? Because guess what? It's brilliant marketing. It doesn't have to today in this day and age, you don't have to be perfect. You have to be authentic. Authenticity is how sales works today. It's not about how pristine your PowerPoint looks. It's not about how perfectly written something is. The simplicity actually shows your intellect significantly better than the superfluous phrasing of a philosopher in a marketing strategy and email. It literally doesn't work. What does work is real talk, authenticity, where you speak to the root of a problem and you just cut straight to the issue. Right? I used to be a television reporter, and I've produced 1,000 on-the-air live pieces of information, videos, if you were. I was only a TV reporter for 2.5 years. I loved being a reporter, but I hated working for the news industry. And the reason for that is because the news industry was collapsing in 2008, giant recession. I was the last person hired at KIDK in Idaho Falls. I got to cover Obama, Biden. I was even an intern for KSL in Salt Lake City, Utah, covered George Bush, did all these cool, quote unquote, things. It was mostly kind of fake, to be honest. The media's fake. Don't believe what you see on the news. All of that information, don't get me started with government rants, but the government says that the inflation rate is 8% right now. How is the government getting away with lying to us like this? Like, how is that even possible? 8%? Right. Give me a break. Whatever the government tells you, triple it. It's like your body count in high school or something. I don't know. Ridiculous. So anyway, I was a TV reporter, and my job was to invert the pyramid of information and make it so that you could get to the root of a thing, explain it, package it up, and move to the next story in under 90 seconds. That was my job. I was perfectly built from a natural human standpoint to understand something in a quick succession and explain it. That is literally how my brain thinks. And that's how I market. I like literally do the same thing today. I have lots of ideas and I just go and execute them. I don't stew on things. I don't measure things twice and cut once. I instead cut 1,000 times and measure maybe once. The activity, it dictates the strategy. The action dictates the strategy, as Gary Vee would say. Without taking activity, you don't have any information, right? It would be like being the CEO of a company, having a vision of where you want to take your company, but never freaking telling anybody, right? That's my number one criticism of what happens in most businesses, right? Like they have an idea, but they don't, the leadership doesn't have the ability to communicate the vision. And that's where all the breakdowns occur. This is why there are business books like Traction explaining simple systems to authenticate core values, pick 5, and then live and sleep and breathe and eat and drink them so that you can get your vision all the way down to the intern level at your company. Because if you don't do that, nobody will understand where you're going. They need to know the why, they need to know the how and the timeline, and all of this needs to be in writing so it's not just general hearsay. And the same thing applies to your marketing. You can't just say my product is better and expect people to buy it. That does not resonate. That's not how people buy. You have to communicate in a way that helps them understand that you get their problem and that you can add value. You need to sell to the consumer how they want to buy. And today, that might mean a Mexican cowboy meme, HOLSTIT, right? Like that's what I'm living right now. I had to pull my partner off the cliff. He was gonna blow a gasket. And I said, you should go own it. Text those guys back who are making fun of you and own it. Like you got toilet paper coming out of your leg, leaving the restroom, instead of shyly just, grabbing that toilet paper and brushing it off and then looking over your shoulder, hoping nobody saw that. Instead of doing that, laugh about it. Look around and say, yeah, I got some toilet paper hanging out of my legging. What's wrong with that? Set the trend. Talk about it, right? Like I was the first guy on the market to notice that all of the Amazon SEO tools were wrong. They were calculating the search term field in Amazon as 250 characters. In reality, Amazon has been calculating it as bytes. And in Amazon's world, the untechnical world, they were not counting spaces when they defined the byte, which means if you weren't putting in 250 bytes, you were probably putting in 250 characters, which is 30 characters less than you likely could have put in because there's 30 characters in that 250 character count, 30 spaces, which means you could probably have another 8 words of keywords in your back end, which means you get 20% more SEO juice by understanding that one thing. So I go on LinkedIn and I send screenshots of Helium 10, Jungle Scout, all these other programs, ZonGuru, many others, showing how all these SEO tools are wrong. I tag them all and I tell them, I was like, look, here's the Amazon help file. Here's a screenshot of the back end of the Seller Central showing how this is incorrect. And then I told my truth and I spoke it, and I just go out and I've done this for years, right? I talk about A+ content and how it indexes. And I explain it from many different perspectives. Marketing is about adding value, being an industry leader, being the best in the world at one thing. My one thing is Amazon education. That's what I do. I am not the best Amazon brand builder. I am not the best sourcer, logistics guy. In fact, I'm really terrible at those things. And that's why I don't service them. But what I am really good at is marketing and education. And when you marry marketing to education and you're teaching while you're marketing, that resonates because you help people grow their brands. People want to be able to take something in less than 2 to 5 minutes and action it. Attention span, criticism, or otherwise, that's just the facts, right? How do I get you to look at my content and come back for more? I add value from the first time you open up that content piece and go right to the root of the problem, just like I did when I was a television reporter. That first 20 seconds, if I didn't do that, you would flip the channel. Today, it's more like 5 seconds, right? Hey, yeah, let me have you sign up for my webinar, and there's only a limit of 100 seats. Right. No, there's not a limit on your 100 seats at your webinar, and nobody's actually going to show up, but they'll watch the replay when they get around to it on their own time. Sure. This is why I post my content on YouTube. I go straight to the issue. I don't make a big deal about it. I just continually produce my war drum. And that is Amazon selling. Shouldn't be as hard as it is. But part of the market is making it harder than it needs to be. How many of you have made an Amazon social post today? I'll wait. Let me know in the comments section. I doubt very many. That's because it's such an easy thing, nobody does it. But it adds thousands of impressions for your product on somebody else's listing. So many things you can do. Just start with one thing and don't worry about perfection. Own the outcome by driving it. And it's okay if you got a Mexican cowboy representing your American-made product. Don't make fun of it. Meme it. Own it. Get some buzz. Get some sales in the door today. All right, that's my marketing rant today. My name is Stephen Pope, and I'm the founder of My Amazon Guy. Check out my other marketing rants here. We'll see you.